Sir.
Yeah, so I saw Ricky coming in. We rode in the shuttle and stuff together. Got to talk to him a little bit, but still excited to meet the other guys as well.
And then, did you always have pro football aspirations, or was there a part of you that maybe thought you might go into track since you were a state track champ?
Yeah, that was definitely a thought. Obviously, I always wanted to play in the NFL, but there came a point, when I was younger, I wasn't highly recruited, so I was like maybe track is the way to go, but fortunately, I was given a few opportunities, and then I just took those and went from there.
So when you think about not being highly recruited at that day or that time of your life to being here today, what's the difference in your thoughts?
Honestly, it's a crazy feeling, I feel like I was doubted a lot, growing up, playing football and stuff like that. But, to be able to get to this point, to prove to the 5-year-old version of myself, who dreamed to be in this position that I'm actually here, it's exciting. But, now it's about maintaining that. So I'm definitely excited for it, for sure.
Were you mainly a receiver in high school, a wide receiver?
Yeah, that was all I played, receiver. Yeah.
What led to the transition to running back?
Yeah, so obviously went to Wisconsin at first. And, I just talked to the offensive coordinator a lot in the process when I was transitioning there, and he just saw more fit. He gave me like Jonathan Taylor comparison. He can't complain about that. But also being a part of an offense, they didn't throw the ball a lot when I was there, and he just saw more opportunity if I were to switch to running back. Obviously, the amount of great running backs that have came out of that school was a lot. So it was I saw a big opportunity for me, so I was really happy with the switch, and then obviously I've been there ever since.
Just in general, running backs in football have become more and more involved in running routes as part of the pass game. So how much do you think that your receiver background has helped you as far as that goes?
Yeah, I definitely think it helps me a lot. I think being able to put that on tape is important. Obviously at Wisconsin, it was more limited, but, with the new offense, going to Brom's offense at Louisville, it definitely helped me a lot being able to showcase that some more and, just continue to show more value. I think that's what's important at this position.
Brom was a third-string QB here behind Steve Young. And has he talked about that, and since you got drafted, have you had a chance to talk about that with him?
He mentioned it briefly. He hadn't really went into depth, but I planned on calling him soon. Just to talk about him, just kind of how the transition and stuff went for him. So I think it's always good to get information like that, especially going through the transition myself. So.
You mentioned last time when we talked to you that you were going to annoy Christian McCaffrey with questions. Have you had an opportunity to talk to him at all and annoy him?
I have not. No, I haven't seen him. Haven't got the introduction yet. But once I do, I'm definitely going to start attacking him with the questions.
Coach Bobby Turner interrupted our interview with you on Zoom. How did the phone call eventually go?
Oh, he always handles it well. Whenever I'm busy or something happens, he's just like at your earliest convenience. But I let him know, and he had a good laugh about it. So.
How did that conversation go? That congratulations that you're finally a Niner.
It was good. Obviously, I'd had conversation with him like the past few days like before. So. Just finally making it official, he was excited about it, obviously. I just let him know how excited I am to truly get to work with him. So it was an exciting phone call.
Isaac, you said that some people doubted you that you would make it in football when you were younger. Why? What were they saying, and what did you have to prove them wrong about?
I think it was more of like just a overlook type thing, I think there was just always a lot of people put in front of me. I think one thing that I kind of pride myself on is like, if somebody's better than me at something, that's perfectly fine. It just drives me to continue to try and get better at that. But, I think there was times where it's like, I feel like I'm really doing everything I'm supposed to. I feel like I'm, working hard, performing well, but, I'm still put behind, people who might not have been. But, just continuing to be patient and continuing to just wait for my time. I think that's one thing that I've always done and one thing I'll continue to do. And, I think that mentality has got me to this point.
How many games did you start in college?
One.
How do you explain that? Like, is that kind of what you're talking about there?
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing, but I've played with a lot of great backs, been in a lot of great rooms, so I mean I think that's it itself. But I think at the same time, going to this level, making this transition, I think is something that helps me because a lot of these guys have been the feature guy. Pretty much since they were young, they were, the guy at their high schools and they were the guy at their colleges. But I think for me, it's it kind of gives me a leg up in the sense that what are these guys going to do when they aren't the starter? How are they going to handle that? How are they going to move forward with that? And given the fact that I've already been through it like plenty of times, like obviously it's not going to change my mindset. I'm going to continue to work hard with whatever it is, but just continuing to embrace that role.
Did it ever bother you that you weren't a starter?
Obviously, it's frustrating. You want to contribute and play as much as possible, but I think if I were to let it bother me, it probably wouldn't allow me to be ready for those moments when I did get them. So, I just continued to have that patient mindset so that I could be ready for those moments.
I mean,
What is
toward
it
that
that
end,
you
people
want
think
to,
about NFL running backs and having sort of a finite amount of carries that they'll have in their career before they start to
Right.
it starts to decline. The fact that you haven't had that you haven't had the 250 to 300 carry year, is that a good thing when you hit your physical peak right now?
Right. I like to think of it as a positive more than anything. People talk about tread on tires, stuff like that. I think that's an advantage for me. And, I think it also kind of leaves out there like I feel like I still have yet to play my best ball. So, continuing to progress, become a better player. I think that's the exciting thing about it. But, I'm going to continue to attack and, embrace whatever role I'm given.
What is it that you want to ask Christian McCaffrey? I mean, and those veteran guys, what are you sort of curious about coming into this system?
I think a big thing as far as transition to the NFL, you talk about recovery and, the season's a little bit longer. You don't have bowl prep to rest a little bit. And, it's like, you're going pretty much until February, depending on like playoff games and all that stuff. So obviously, I've always kind of prided myself on this quote. It's like the best ability is availability. If you're not available, it doesn't matter what you can do on the field because, you can't be out there. So obviously recovery, but I think, just kind of what things help slow the game down for him. Obviously, he's playing at the highest level and he's playing well at the highest level. So to learn from a back like that is obviously exciting.
Seems as your college career went on, you became more and more consistently available. Like you just said, was that a product of you learning what worked, what didn't, and making tweaks as it went on?
Yeah, I think it was just about finding a routine, finding things that worked best for me. And unfortunately, it took a little bit, like a few years, but once I was able to find that consistent routine and stick with it, I've been good since then.
If you can recall, most memorable conversation that you've had since draft day and up to this point that motivated you, or that is still motivating you now that you know that you're a Niner?
I would say, honestly, like probably a couple of days ago. So I was talking to one of our O-linemen who also transferred into Louisville. I believe it was in the summer he transferred in, and we were just having a conversation just about, like the future, the plans, obviously wanting to play in the NFL and stuff like that. And, he mentioned to me, and I completely forgot that I'd even said it. Obviously I had a realistic mindset at this point. I think the highest somebody might have had me was like 7th round, but, he was like, you remember you saying like, you just wanted to try to hold on to like, possibly get drafted, but I kind of already had that mentality like I'm probably going to go undrafted, so I just need to attack with this mindset, and I'm perfectly fine with that, but to actually be drafted, is a crazy feeling. So when he reminded me of that, it was just kind of like a boost of confidence, like wow, like I came a long way. So I would definitely say that.